for watching our internet edition of Nightline. Today, a look at an armored vehicle with astonishing potential to save American lives. Roadside bombs have killed 1,400 Americans in Iraq. That's more than half of all combat deaths. The U.S. military is resting its hopes on blast-resistant vehicles like the Cougar. The expensive truck has an astounding success rate, but with only a few hundred of them on the ground in Iraq, the vast majority of our troops are still in danger. ABC's Bob Woodruff reports on the sluggish rollout that could cost American lives.
This 400,000 square foot converted jet engine plant just west of Charleston, South Carolina, is now ground zero in the battle against deadly IEDs. Once a tiny startup company with about a dozen employees, Force Protection Incorporated is now 800 strong, living up to its name.
I myself, if they would let me, would drive this thing over a landmine right now just to test it out. I feel that comfortable in these vehicles.
Their blast-resistant vehicles, the Cougar and the bomb-clearing Buffalo, have become the gold standard in protection against the weapon of choice in Iraq.
Those vehicles have performed exceedingly well in theater. So we're doing everything we can in the government, and I've impressed upon industry how important it is for them to do their part to ramp up and rapidly produce these vehicles.
Is it getting more busy here?
Oh, it's getting quite busy here now.
Many of the highly skilled welders here, like Carrie Revenell, used to train their torches on nuclear submarines. But the needs of the U.S. war machine have changed. And now these craftsmen are working at breakneck speed to build these armored vehicles so desperately needed in Iraq.
We're building these trucks right here. We are bringing a lot of people home.
The first Cougars off these production lines were delivered to the Marine Corps in Fallujah in late 2004.
You might remember in November there was a major operation to retake that city. As soon as we got those first vehicles to the Marine Corps engineers, my email account lit up with email from Army engineers saying, how come the Marines have a better vehicle than we do?
The success of these vehicles in Iraq, these are some that took hits from IEDs, is due to a fundamental change in thinking and design.
What's different about these vehicles is right here from the rear. You can see the pronounced V of the steel hull. That takes a ground blast and deflects it up and away from the vehicle.
In contrast to the up-armored Humvee, which remains vulnerable to underbelly explosions, these trucks are designed from the tires to the turret with one critical thing in mind: survival in a blast. The Cougar's high ground clearance and wedge-shaped hull force the energy and debris from an explosion outward, away from the troops inside the reinforced capsule.
I'm always fond of telling the soldiers, you're perfectly safe in our vehicle, but don't be walking next to one, because that blast comes out there with a vengeance.
It doesn't affect that truck at all.
These explosive experts from Fort Monmouth, New Jersey, have experienced the protective prowess of the Cougar firsthand. Each was hit by IEDs multiple times.
With our particular job, we put ourselves next to these IEDs on purpose. So, I mean, it really helps us out, makes us feel a lot more comfortable.
We had one from the back, and the only way we knew it went off was because we heard radio chatter.
You otherwise didn't feel it?
Not really.
Do you think any of you would have been hit or possibly even killed if you didn't have this vehicle?
Most definitely. That's probably the sole answer that we all made it back in one piece. In my own opinion, I never wanted to ride in a Humvee again.
Yet more than 2 years after the first Cougars arrived in Iraq, only a few hundred of these 15-ton behemoths are available to U.S. warfighters. The Pentagon is now putting out an urgent request for the money to acquire thousands more than $500,000 per truck.
The Army and the Marine Corps have finally faced up to how serious the insurgent threat is in using these explosives. What's so disturbing about this solicitation isn't that we need the vehicles, but that all the obvious evidence was there a long time ago to know we needed to do this, and we're only getting around to doing it after 4 years of fighting. We're getting started too late, maybe too late to make a difference in this conflict.
We just can't build this type of thing quick enough.
Dr. Vernon Joint was one of the leading blast experts in South Africa, where the V-shaped hull was conceived more than 20 years ago.
So what took the United States so long to do this? We had this war for a long time too.
Well, the point is the United States never fought asymmetric wars, that was all we fought.
Dr. Joint is now the chief scientist at Force Protection. working to stay one step ahead of the insurgents in Iraq.
We build, firstly, a really sound capsule in which the people inside will survive, and then we stick on the rest. We build a truck around that. This particular vehicle still has a perfect safety record.
And that's a tremendous source of pride here in this factory.
I'm sure people are glad that they're planning homecomings for their sons and daughters and not funerals.
The only thing sad about it is that we're not getting enough over there to protect them all. I think if we had our choice, that we would protect every Marine and soldier 24/7 in these things.
The Pentagon now has 9 defense contractors working on similar designs for blast-resistant armored trucks, but it will be at least several months before large numbers of these life-saving machines are delivered to the war zone.
Tonight on Nightline, God-men meet the Christian comic who's helping men, and only men, find a new and very masculine approach to worship. Turns out, Jesus can be tough.
The fact is, a meek and mild Jesus eventually is a bore. He doesn't inspire us.
The God-men, that's tonight. That's today's internet edition of Nightline. Thanks for downloading us. I'm Cynthia McFadden. For Terry Moran, Martin Bashir, and all of us at ABC News, all the best for the rest of your day.